Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You are listening to Holding Down the Fort with Alejandro Soto. That is me, your host for the next probably hour or so. We'll see how long I go rambling in this intro and outro. I try to keep it down, but I am a man of the theater and at times have been bestowed with the gift of gab. So I make no promises. You might have to just buckle in and strap everything down until we get to the end of this one. So, first off, just gonna let you know what's going on before we get into the chat I had with Mae Z, which is super awesome. So, let's see. Friday, March 22nd, we got Blossom Bash coming up. I'm really looking forward to this. Got Good Luck Garrett on the bill, got Orion. You'll get a Pumas set from me. We got couple, I think like four, maybe five art vendors are going to be down there. We got some aerialists doing acrobatics. We're going to have live painters. I think Maisie's going to be one of them, actually. So, yeah, Friday, March 22nd, come hang out at Blossom Bash with us down at the East End Eclectic. Ticket links in the show notes below. Then after that, March 30th, that's a Saturday, I'll be at the Farmers Market. And that's Fort Wayne's Farmers Market in the old Kelly Car Building on State Street. I'll be there Saturday, March 30th and Saturday, April 13th, a couple weeks later. So come check that place out. It's really cool. They're doing it indoors through the rest of the season. Until summer really starts kicking off and it's warm enough to get back outside. So come down to the farmers market March 30th and April 13th to hear me play some music. Let's see. Tonight we've got an ecstatic dance going on, so by the time you hear this, it will be done and you will not be able to attend. So if you did, thanks for dancing with us. We've got going once a month through the year of 2024 down at the Dance Collective. So check it out. Follow the Tulip Tree pages to keep up to date on the ecstatic dances that we're doing. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you to the Dance Collective for housing us for this calendar year. I've got a Patreon page. I've got 3 subscribers right now, so shout out to my 3 subscribers. Y'all are the tops, members of the Inner Sanctum, builders of the fort, extraordinaires, and other wonderful, uplifting showerings of praise and adoration be upon my 3 Patreon subscribers. You can subscribe on the free tier. Everything that goes onto the paid subscriptions is also going up on the free tier. That's how I'm doing it for now. Might change in the future. You know how shit goes. But in the spirit of making the show and the art accessible, there's a totally free feature on the Patreon page, and you can sign up for that. And then if later you feel like giving me money, you can do that down the line. But you don't have to today to listen to this show or plenty in the future. But if you feel like giving me money, I won't say no. It helps put the gas in the tank. And, new tires on my van when I will need to do that. So yeah, support the Patreon, join me, and give me money. I'm also doing YouTube streams on the Massive Music YouTube page. That's where the DJ stuff is going. And then I've got an Alejandro Soto page where I'm putting up my singing and playing guitar sets, my acoustic sets and stuff that I'm doing around town. The streams, the kind of like they're live premieres, so I can set the video itself to like premiere live, and you can join in on the live chat, and it's a really neat way to like make the internet a little more interactive and make it feel like we're in a shared space instead of in our respective bedrooms or living rooms. In sweatpants and wiping the Cheeto the Cheeto dust off of our fingers onto our sweatpants. Maybe that's just me, but I think that's a part of the human condition if you were to ask me for an honest answer. So join me for the YouTube streams. I don't care if you're wearing your sweatpants that are covered in Cheeto dust. Just come hang out and say something silly in the chat. So I think that's all I'm going to ramble on about in this. introduction for today. So please check out Maisie's Instagram. She's on uh, TikTok. I don't do that. I haven't delved into that whole realm yet, but if you're on the TikTok thing, you can follow her there. She's posting her art and her work. And then, even more than that, please come out to a show of hers sometime. She's going to be at the Open Streets in Fort Wayne over the summer. I think that's on Thursdays. We talked about it in the episode. She'll be live painting downtown at those. She's putting on art shows. I think it's the first Sunday, last Sunday, last Saturday, third Saturday. Shit, I don't know. It's a Saturday afternoon. Once a month, she's collaborating with the East End Eclectic and doing art shows featuring local artists. So please go to that throughout the season. Maybe you'll bump into me and you can tell me if you listened to this. Just confirm that contact is being made would be great. So yeah, check out Maisie. She's doing great work. I'm really stoked that I was able to sit down with her. We really touched on a lot of really what I think are important points and topics for artists and for creative people in this day and age as we navigate the like post-pandemic world and just trying to maintain some sort of balance and healthy way of being so that we can keep doing art and keep doing these things that are really quite awesome and special. And gotta do the daily to get to an art show. So I am rambling at this point, so I'm gonna sign off for this introduction for this 25th episode, 26th, I can't remember. I'm episode 25 of Holding Down the Fort with Mae Z Husman. And thank you to Los Lemons as always for the intro music. Enjoy. Then episode 25 of Holding Down the Fort with Mae Z Husman. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I should probably start asking people how to say their names before recording, but I haven't done that yet. So we're here in the East End Eclectic where you just had a show
Yeah.
last weekend with a couple other artists. It was super cool. I got to check it out. I don't know if I was able to put a link to it in the I think I put a link to it in the last episode because I had Porch and Becky on the show.
Yeah, I listened to that one. I wasn't sure if I saw a link or not.
I may not have. If I didn't, sorry.
It's okay.
But that's something I want to do better on with like the podcast is like really like linking to things and trying to have it be a place where people can find other people's work and like really have the show support the scene and support like the people who are on as guests. Um, that's just my a little personal goal that I'm trying to feed strength into. So calling myself out for not doing that for your show.
It's okay.
But yeah, so you're a painter here in town. You were at Easy Step In last September doing live
Hmm.
painting. Um, and you're kind of like exploding on the scene, dude.
Thank you.
Like at least from my
Thank you.
view, like you're doing good work. Like you're consistently like
Mhm.
making stuff. Not that that's what defines like a successful or productive creative, but like the juice is flowing, at least from what it looks like on my end. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think looking back at this past year, I was really proud of myself. I think the live painting really catapulted me into this beginning of success here in Fort Wayne, and I'm excited to continue doing that. I don't see a lot of artists that go out and live paint, so it's just something to kind of set myself apart, but it's something I enjoy, and then I'm out there with the community creating, and they love it. They love
Hmm.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Then that is really an interesting and cool way to connect with
Hmm.
people through that medium of expression. Because, like, for me as a musician and a performing artist, the exchange between like artist and audience is very clear. It's like when I'm up on a stage, like performing a set, the exchange is going on. But as like a painter, that could probably be a little more difficult to find. Like you finish a painting and then it's like sold in a gallery and then it kind of like goes off and takes on its own life. And so that's cool that you're finding a way to connect with people in real time with your medium.
Yeah, I don't think it's always expected. Like you said, with musicians, it's expected that you're gonna have that exchange with the audience, and with painting, it's not always expected. Artists don't
Mm,
always have that experience with their audience. So I think people really do enjoy watching artists create, and I do a lot of different things. So when I'm painting live, seeing people's faces of shock when I get the scissors out and I start cutting the canvas, the painting that I just finished, and I start cutting it and stitching it. They're like, "What is she doing?" But they love it. I love interacting with them, and a lot of times I'll let kids like paint on the canvas while I'm
mm,
painting and stuff. So I
oh,
don't know. I
cool.
really seem to enjoy it.
Nice. I'm going to turn this real quick just so it faces you a little more.
Okay.
So that how long ago did you start painting?
I started painting in January of 2021, so it's been
Okay,
just a few years.
cool.
I just kind of fell into it. I don't know, just needed a mental break and started painting. And then after the first couple, I was like, wait a minute, this is fun, and these
Hmm.
are actually pretty good. So it's kind of just how the journey began, and I became quickly obsessed with the process.
Hmm. So that's what, like 3 years ago? You've
Yeah,
really been delving into this? That's
yeah,
really cool.
I know.
So I'm interested in like digging more into how that started. Like, what was the spark of inspiration? I mean, if you're willing to go into that and expound upon that, I'm interested.
So, mental health had a lot to do with that. I was just feeling really low at that time, and I had lost my job, and I was just very messy, depressy at the time. And I
Been
was
there.
getting all my sad feels out on canvas, and it really
Yeah.
began to help turn things around. But it gave me something that was a part of me and my identity. It was something
Mm,
that gave me purpose, and so I kept going. And I also realized how it was inspiring and affecting others, which made me really happy because it made me feel almost, in a sense, like I wasn't alone. Other people feel this way too. So
mm,
it was a way to connect with people.
hmm. And like that's so rad that you were able to find like that thing that helped you get out of being messy depressy from inside. It was like in this day and age it's so easy to go searching for external poultices and band-aids for mental health or whatever our issues are, but like, that stuff doesn't last very long and generally doesn't work very
No,
well.
it doesn't.
And
Try
so,
that. Didn't work.
yeah, in my experience, it's really expensive and doesn't work too well. And so, like finding things in that like are like endogenous that come from a place inside of you to I don't know about combat, but to observe the parts of yourself that are messy depressy. Like it's like, okay, well, there's something that I've got to work through here, and so let's put it down on canvas. And like, I mean, it's kind of like alchemy. It's turning like turning dirt into art.
Yeah.
And they were literally doing
Yeah.
that in here last weekend,
Yeah.
like doing that flower Persephone shoot.
I
She
was
was
a
like
part of that
sprinkling dirt
shoot
on the
too.
ground.
I was picking dirt out of my hair.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the process really is, sometimes when I go into a piece, I have an understanding of what I'm feeling and what that piece is going to mean to me when it's finished. But a lot of times I'll look at work months later and be like, oh,
Mm,
so that's what that meant. I don't always
mm,
know, and I don't
mhm,
always have a real clear idea of what the piece is going to be, but the whole process of painting and then selling and reflecting back on old pieces really does help me, move through certain emotions and feelings that I'm having at the time. It can be very healing and it can be very frustrating because at times I feel like I learn things about myself and maybe I'm frustrated with that. But yeah, no, the whole process is very therapeutic for me.
mm. That's cool. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, so something the aspect of it being like healing is something that I'm like dancing with, cuz on one hand, like for me personally, to say that what I am doing is like a medicine and to heal others feels on a certain level disingenuous. Like and perhaps it's because my ego would just love to latch onto that and be like, yeah, I'm a healing DJ who's through the vibration and sound of elevating us to another level, which may be true, but like to parade that around just like seems like it would actually end up detracting and subtracting from what good people could get from it. But so that's the dance that there is in I mean in my experience clearly an aspect to art that is therapeutic and does help to alleviate like my own suffering and from what others tell me they're suffering as well.
Hmm.
So it's interesting like hearing people talk about like in hearing you talk about that right now, how the process of creating in and of itself was like the therapy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think that there's something important in that there.
So when I create, I kind of view my work more or less as my journal, my own personal journal. So being able to
Mm,
just get things out and being able to feel those feelings and being okay and comfortable with my pain is
mm,
where a lot of the healing for myself and personal
mm,
growth, I
mm.
think, really started because it was like, okay, this is how I feel, and that's okay. And just being okay
Yeah.
with it
Yeah.
really just got me focused on, okay, what else do I need to work on personally in order to not feel these feelings? One thing that I've always thought about is like, how is my work going to look in 10 years? Hopefully happier,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully happier. But the healing and the journey is more or less it's my own personal journey, and other people being touched by that is just a benefit because at the end of the day I
Mm-hmm.
will always create regardless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the aspect of seeing your pain and being able to sit with it and be with it and look at it and not get wrapped up in it is so important in that process of moving through those afflictive emotions.
Yeah.
Like if you can't if, like when you're wrapped up in being messy depressy, or at least when I have, it hasn't done me any good to like stay in a frazzled mindset. Like it's one of my teachers calls it calm abiding, like this state of mind that you need to be in to like actually get anything done, like
Yeah.
is called like you have to be in a space of calm abiding. And through it's what I'm hearing you say is that through painting you're finding a space of calm abiding so you can sit with the pain that you've experienced and then like process it and move through it and like set it aside and move on with life.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be hard looking back at paintings where, other people may look at them and see that there's pain, but me knowing what I was going through at that time, it can be kind of hard, but I also have this feeling of just being grateful that I was able to, move past that. So that's why I look at my work, and other people may look at the collection and see a bunch of paintings, but I look at my work and I see a timeline and experiences. And so being able to move past certain things and it being documented basically through my art has been a very interesting thing, and something that can be kind of hard at times, but at the end of the day I look at those pieces and I just feel so grateful that I'm not there anymore.
Yeah. That's so cool. And like the aspect of the your story weaving through the paintings is very interesting. I've been like thinking about that idea more lately of telling a story through art and that being like a valuable thing. And like I think it's a way like because I spent time in the theater. I like was in did theater when I was in like grade school and high school. Spent a year at PFW in the theater department, and when I was there I learned about this idea called the willing suspension of disbelief. Are you familiar with this?
No.
So when you go into a theater, you have to willingly suspend your disbelief to like actually enjoy the play, because especially if you're going to like First Pres just down the road and your friends are in the show, you know that's my buddy who lives down the street from me who's been practicing a script of lines for the last 6, hopefully 8 weeks, if you're lucky. Um, and I know that he has a day job and like, and so he's not really an aristocrat from the South in the 30s. He's my hipster friend. But to believe and to get into the story, I have to switch off that disbelief in my brain that says he's not an aristocrat, he's a hipster. I can switch that, like consciously flip that switch and then immerse myself into the story, and then themes and lessons can be pulled out of that play in this example, and then like can be carried back into real life when the curtain rises and the fourth wall disappears and we all go home and brush our teeth. And so like that aspect in your art of like your story and like an ability to weave where you've been and what you've experienced into your art, like you're creating like a story that could perhaps then you can tell to others, like the paintings tell a story, and that's what like connects with people and makes them like feel maybe not alone, or like
Yeah.
just anything. Usually it's like something like, oh, someone else feels this
Yeah.
too, is
Yeah.
how like art has been really good for me. But yeah, that's really neat that you're finding the story in your
Well,
painting.
and to piggyback off of that, I think what's interesting is that the story can be so different to everybody. Really, the viewers all look at, 10 people can look at one painting and feel different things or feel that it relates to different things. So I think that that's what's interesting too, is although my story is woven in there, really so are so many other people's when they view the work. And I think that's just really interesting, is to see how people connect with the work. And a question I get as an artist all the time is, well, what does this mean? And sometimes I don't want to explain because because it was messy, depressing. I don't want to be like, well, you see, what had happened was no, but it's just interesting because it's open for interpretation and people are able to connect with it. And I find that people do connect with it differently. So there's many stories.
Yeah. And like there always is. Like, yeah, 10 people looking at your art, there's 10 different
Yeah.
interpretations of that art. Like there's 20 eyeballs looking at that. Like, and it's really neat to something I've been noticing and hearing as I talk to visual artists is how similar like visual art is to like the musical and auditory art that I steep myself in. Um, like, yeah, if I play a song to a room of, to 10 people, there's 10 different experiences of that song that was just played. And
Yeah.
like, it's interesting to think about that because like, yeah, there's the song that I wrote, and then there's the song that that person heard, and the song that that person heard, and that that person heard. And like in each of those persons' minds is a different song
Yeah. Yeah, it's
than is
very
in my
interesting.
mind.
Yeah, is it sad? Is it romantic to some? It could be interpreted so
Hmm.
differently.
Hmm.
And I think that's why I like creatives and being around creatives in general because we're all so different yet a lot of us are very similar in ways,
Hmm.
musicians and artists and just across the board being around creatives is I don't know, I enjoy it.
Hmm. Hmm.
We have
Yeah.
different experiences, but yet they're similar, even though what
Hmm.
we create is so different.
Yeah. 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 And like the when I encounter true truth, it always has a paradoxical. If that is that a word?
Don't
I think
ask
it
me.
is.
I dropped out.
I'm the one that went to theater school. But there's always this like truth when it hits the deep, like when you hit the deep kick of truth, it's always got a paradox in it. Like, yeah, we are all having our own individual, completely different experiences, but like at the same time, we're all on the same planet, like in the same room, breathing the same air, drinking the same water. Like, it's really, really neat to be around, yeah, creative people who are have like an expanded perception of the world
Yeah.
just for whatever reason, be it uh, endowed by the gods or picked up through traumatic experience or a little bit of both. Um, but to get to like hear the ideas of people who have that expanded perspective and like want to look at their art and what they create and look at themselves and what they experience and like not push it away if it brings up uh, turbulent emotions, but to try and like observe that and like just be with it.
Yeah, I think I truly believe that creatives do carry some of the most pain, but they're also so brave for sharing their work with the world. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be very brave to put your work out there for other
Mm-hmm.
people to
Yeah,
criticize
yeah.
and view and experience, especially if there is a lot of pain in your work. You have to be brave to put that out
Mm-hmm.
there because you don't know how it's going to be perceived.
Mm-hmm. Something I heard Ram Dass said. Do you know Ram Dass?
No.
He was like a spiritual teacher. He was at Harvard back in the 60s and did all the psychedelic studies with Tim Leary, got kicked out, tried to get enlightened through taking LSD and drugs and couldn't make it work. And so went to India to try and stay high through meditation and spiritual practice. And that didn't work either. And so then he just like kept on, he just became like a spiritual teacher and like taught just like spoke and traveled and lectured on his experiences and answered questions on kind of the stuff we're talking about now. But people asked him, Ram Dass, are you sad? And he goes, yes, I am so sad. Ram Dass, are you happy? I'm so happy. Ram Dass, are you afraid? I'm so afraid. Ram Dass, do you feel joy? I am so joyous. And so where he was able to hold all of these emotions and feel them simultaneously. And that's like what a place that one can get to uh, with an intent to like hold that expanded capacity, like and to like know great joy one also like is gonna feel great pain.
Yeah.
And like, but the thing, the like thing I've been like practicing lately is when, and maybe I'll quote Ram Dass again because he was much better at this than I am yet. But it was, you know, when someone says to me, "Oh, Alejandro, you're that was a terrible show. It sounded like shit. Take that with aso." Someone comes up to me and says, "Alejandro, that was such an awesome set. You did such a great job. Take it with aso." And it's this idea of don't get attached to the joy, to the sorrow, to like the pain or the pleasure, and just like experience it.
Yeah.
And then it's not, you're not gonna like get caught up in it and end up like suffering more than is necessary in this realm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like life is gonna suck sometimes. I think we can all agree on that, but like
Yeah.
we can try to make it not suck more.
Exactly. You know, I think that's so interesting because this last year I've definitely tried to have more of a meh, okay. Like if it's a bad day, I'm like, meh, okay. I find myself laughing when things go wrong. I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? I'm just like, whatever. You know, everything always seems to work itself out. And so I try not to dwell on the bad things, but also even when things are really good, I could find that and you see it in the creative realm with people, people's egos, or you know, losing themselves a little bit when things are too good. So I try to be real and honest with myself to be able to experience all the experiences, but not let any of them, good or bad, live too long in my head. You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that's attachment.
Right.
And attachment is one of like the root causes of suffering in like Buddhist philosophy, which is what I'm like steeping in right now. A lot of what I'm talking about is like just Buddhism. If any, like just full disclosure, if you want to like
Do some
know more,
research later.
yeah, yeah, I guess. But like, yeah, if you're attached to joy, it's going to go away. Like one of the like aspects of our reality is like the aspect of impermanence. Like nothing lasts, everything fades. Like we're all gonna die. So if even that joy of like selling a big art piece or selling out a show is not gonna last.
Right.
And it's cool. Julia Catherine just sent me a video yesterday of a guy talking about how, as a performer, when you finish a show or like a performance of some type and you bow and say thank you to the audience, it's not only like thanking for the energy that they just gave to you, the performer, it's also a giving back of that energy because it is an exchange.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how if you hold on to that energy that you get from putting on a show, it like keeps you in that high state, but like that's not going to last.
Right.
But if you can give that back to them and recognize that we just had this exchange, you just gave this to me, and I was able to do this thing up here, create these sounds, or paint this picture, and now I'm thanking you and giving that energy back because like I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore. Like we got to go do another show, and I need to empty myself out so I can take that energy from the next show. Then you're not going to get the suffering that comes with the fucking crash and come down
Right.
of show high.
Yeah, it's interesting you call it a crash too, because, when I finish a piece or I do something really cool within my career, maybe I have an exhibition or, I paint live, you do get this sort of high afterwards. It's this adrenaline of, this piece is amazing or that show is amazing. And you do get this overwhelming feeling of, I want to say like accomplishment. And I feel very proud of myself. But you're absolutely right, because that feeling will fade. And I think it can be kind of frustrating at times. I feel like at times I feel that I'm chasing that feeling where when I start a piece, I just want to finish it because I want to feel that feeling of, wow, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So letting go of it is definitely, I don't know, good advice. I feel like I'm learning so much right now. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and like when I have gotten in that of like I start a project and I'm so stoked about finishing it,
Hmm.
most of the time I end up not fucking finishing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't even actually get there
I've got
because then
like 20.
I don't want to put in the work to actually finish it.
Yeah. I've got like 20 projects that are started and I can see them completed in my head and I'm like these are going to be amazing if they ever get done.
Yeah.
If they ever get done.
My like mantra, my intention for this calendar year is to finish what I fucking started.
Yeah.
And there's an aggressive tone behind it. And it's just for me. I'm directing it at me, but it's finish what you fucking started.
Well, I'll take it too.
You're
I'll
welcome to take
it
it.
too.
You can use it.
I've
It's
been
like,
I've been trying to be so focused on like actually finishing things and staying focused and I'm like, okay, you have a calendar. Follow it.
yeah, and it's good like to a certain extent,
Hmm.
but then I also like and for like where I'm at, like I got a lot of projects and I want to finish and get done and like to not leave undone, finish what I fucking started. But I was talking to another friend of mine and we were like working on scheduling something and she opened up her calendar and in it she had written wiggle room. And I was like, she was like, yeah, I'm putting, just a little wiggle room in my calendar. And I'm like, huh, yeah, I think I can fit in a little wiggle room. And I was like, and we just had one of those moments of like I got the joke and like I mean she'd been putting in the work for several decades and has gotten to a point where like she has a creative space and like a community that supports her and that she supports and like doesn't need to be developed, like she's developed her focus and
Yeah.
knows how to do that, and so through that exercise of discipline and focus she now like schedules a week at a time. She like said, "Yeah, I only schedule like a week out just because things change and that's how it goes. So I'm just going with the flow and take it a week at a time." And I'm like, I that like freaks me out for where
Yeah.
I'm at, but it's
You
a neat idea
It
like
is because
to
I
hold.
I feel like the calendar would be much less overwhelming if I only
Hmm.
have to worry about the next week. It can be so hard though when events are planned,
Yeah, yeah,
months out. And so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. It's a balance, but that's the value of having a good circle of creatives around me. Like, I mean,
yeah,
she's probably never ask a woman her age, so I'm not sure, but maybe 2 or 3 decades older than me, and to see the results of 2, 3 more decades of focused, intentional effort is like, oh, okay. So, and like,
yeah.
she's supporting me and sees what I do and like provides inspiration to me. And so it's like, it's that give and take.
Yeah, it can be so amazing to be surrounded by creatives that are older than you that have put in the work and you
Hmm.
see like, okay, they did it and
Hmm.
they're successful and they've achieved what they wanted and you see how they are. I think that's one thing that I'm really grateful about this year, rolling into this year. I have a really nice community of creatives
Hmm.
and I'm so grateful for that because I felt like, my first 2 years trying to find that creative group where I felt like I belonged, or
Hmm.
because you meet so many different types of creatives and so there's the good and the bad, and so to be able to finally have a community, a support system, and also people that can teach me and people that want to see me achieve and want to
Hmm. Hmm.
help me do that is just so amazing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So amazing.
Yeah. And necessary.
It is,
Like,
yeah.
like, I I was an emo punk rocker back in the day, and like listening to emo punk rock music nowadays and like actually listening to the lyrics, and like I heard a song the other day and it was something like, I don't need you around. I don't need your sympathy. I'm good on my own. And I just like heard that and was like,
That's so
oh,
negative.
it's so not true. Like we need other people. Like, and also you went into a studio and had someone at the mixing board operating an incredibly complex piece of equipment to make your guitar playing sound decent on a
Yeah.
record. You did not do that by yourself. And even if you did it in your own home studio, you learned from other people. And so, like, I don't know, I'm talking to my past self, my past emo self a little bit here, but like, we do need other people around. And there's no way that, like, any of this goes down just being, one man, one woman on an island shouting into the void.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, no, we definitely need people. I find myself listening to some of the same music I used to listen to, and I would pay attention to the lyrics a little bit more. We need like an emo group that just screams like, "We need people, we need community." Just like it just be super heavy metal, like
positive
just
punk.
scream.
We
Yeah,
need positive punk.
somebody somebody better hop on that idea. We need some. I don't mind the actual
Yeah,
instrumental of it.
I
I'm
love it.
okay
It's
with
so
it.
great. Like, I still get down to breakdowns. Like, but yeah, the message and the motive behind it, I can't back anymore.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah. It's good to hear that echoed in others, and like to hear that other people are finding their community and finding their people, and to see that growing here in Fort Wayne. Because like I said earlier, I auditioned for my first show at the youth theater just down the road in fourth grade. I didn't get the part, but I tried out for another show the next year in fifth grade, and that one I got the part. So that was my like first experience in like an art scene. So I was fifth grade, almost 2 decades ago now, and like then going through punk bands and like I talked about this with Porch and Becky about the like kind of clickiness and pocketed nature of the scene that I
Mm-hmm.
noticed in Fort Wayne, and to see that like going away, at least in the scene that I'm finding myself in now and the people I'm connecting with, it's a very let's support each other mindset. And I heard this might be from Ram Dass again, but it was he got this from a tribe in like South America. There was like a group of 20 tribes that they were going to send money to, and they could only raise enough money each year to help like two or three tribes. So they worked out this like 5-year plan how they were going to raise money and help these two villages and then these two villages and then these two villages. And they came to the leaders of all the villages and they said, no, we're not going to do that. However much money you give us, we're going to split and divide evenly among all the villages. Because when we're walking along, we walk as only as quickly as the slowest person can move.
Yeah.
And that's how we get along. That's how we do it. Like it's not like, we're not leaving anybody behind was the thing. And like, Ram Dass, this dude who did the stuff, was schooled by these indigenous tribes in South America who were poor and destitute and so desperately in need of help. And this dude who spent decades trying to get enlightened through all these different methodologies was schooled by a group of poor people. And just like and like to think that I can do it on my own, and to like try and shoo away anyone, like I miss out on that opportunity to learn from any perspective. And
Absolutely.
I wonder how much I've missed out on by like having my own blinders on. But then I also think about how much I have learned from letting those blinders go.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the art community in general in Fort Wayne is thriving.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is still some clickiness within Fort Wayne, which is totally, I think, expected. At the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, we're all human. But being able to just experience things and at least give every opportunity and group of people the benefit of the doubt
Mm-hmm.
and give it an honest try is I think what's important. So you learn, good and bad, whether it works out or it doesn't. But being able to find a group of people that aren't like that and that are trying to help everybody that's a part of the group grow is something really special. And I'm so happy that I found it, and I hope that other creatives are able to find that group that's right for them as well.
That's a mic drop moment right there. Well, Maisie, what have you got coming up? Where can people find you?
So we're doing our monthly exhibitions here at East End Eclectic. They're the last Saturday of every month, 4 to 7. I've got some projects that I'm working on. So in the past, I've done painted models, and I make masks and kind of bring my characters that you'll see in my art to life.
Oh,
So
cool.
being at the studio here now gives me more space to get some of these more out there creative ideas out. So something that the studio has is aerial workers, and this goes back to finding a group that's able to work with you and help you. So I want to do full body painting on some aerial workers, and then have them doing aerial work,
Oh,
up
cool.
above during the art exhibitions. And then I've been doing a collaboration with a good friend, Libby Adams. She crochets. She's
Oh,
such a sweetheart.
yeah.
She's such a sweetheart. So she was crocheting outfits for her porch goose.
That's right.
So there's actually a club on Facebook. I'm a part of it now. It's great. A bunch of amazing women crochet outfits for their porch geese. So, but
No way.
I'm like, you know what? If
That's
she can
awesome.
make outfits for geese, then I wonder if we could do something together. And so I called her up one day and I was like, hey, can you crochet, eyeballs? Because I make all these abstract faces. I was thinking, what if we do some of the face in with crochet
Uh-huh.
elements and do more of a fiber art mixed media? And she was like, I'll try. And then she calls me back like a couple hours later. She's like, hey, I made like 18 of them. So we've
Can
just been
do.
working together on that. I'm really excited. Everyone really seems to love that collaboration, especially just the combination of mixed media and fiber art.
Mhm.
But other things that I have coming up, I'll be painting live on Fridays downtown every Friday,
Cool.
like I did last summer. Be right on Calhoun in front of Pint and Slice. They do
Nice.
there's live music. People go down there to grab food, have a drink.
Is that the open streets
Yeah,
thing? Okay, cool,
yeah, for the
cool.
downtown
Yeah.
Fort Wayne page.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice.
And it's funny, and this is what I say about, going out there and just getting opportunity and kind of just taking up space too. It's funny because I remember when I wanted to do that, I emailed the director of that event on Calhoun. I was like, "Hey, I'm an artist. I'd love to paint live down there. I have art hanging at Pint and Slice. I'd love to set up and paint live down there." And then they never responded.
No.
So I just showed up
Yeah.
and I set up. I had my canvas and my my paints all ready, and a gentleman approached me. He's like, "Hey, are you that artist that emailed me that I never responded to?" Yeah, hi, hello. That's me. And inevitably it ended up working out, and the community loved it. So of course I was
Nice.
invited to come back, and so it's kind of just my thing now. I do
Cool,
I do
cool.
that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you're on the internet, so I'll link to your pages below.
Yeah.
You're posting really cool stuff, so people check it out. Definitely check out the Open Streets shindigs. I made it by one or two last year, so to now that I know they're going on more regularly, I'll try to make that a more regular stop. And that's cool to know that you're doing the art galleries, the Saturday galleries regularly here. That was like really fucking cool. And like to have like a late afternoon Saturday hangout, like just real chill, low key art gallery vibe was like really nice and refreshing. Like for me as like a musician and like a DJ doing like stuff that's pretty high energy a lot of the time, to just like be able to come into a creative space that's like chill and calm was very, very nice.
I
So,
want it to be kind of more of like a networking opportunity for creatives. I really want creatives to come and hang out. I wanted to create an event that wasn't just a art exhibition, but a place for people to hang out and network. And then, of course, collectors to come look at new art. And there will be different artists at every exhibition. So that's just providing opportunity for other artists to display in such a beautiful space. So
nice, nice. Well, thank you for what you're doing. Keep up the good work. Thanks for being on the show.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'd love to have you again sometime.
Heck yeah. Thank
Cool.
you.
All right, that's a wrap.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mae Z, for being on the show. Really good having you. Look forward to doing it again in the future. Let's see what's going on. March 22nd, Blossom Bash. Saturday, March 30th and April 13th, Farmers Market gigs. Come to the ecstatic dances. Hop on the Patreon. Join me in the YouTube streams. It's all going down. I'm keeping busy. I'm doing the work, and I'm doing it all for you. The hungry, waiting with bated breath fans that I know are just up late at night wondering what the next episode of this show is going to be. I do it all for you, and I would do it all again. And I will do it again. And another episode's going to come out 2 weeks after this one, so tune in for that. And I hope you take care of yourselves. I actually have not decided what song I'm going to put at the end of this episode, so take care of yourselves until next time, and I'll see you later. Thanks for listening.